Hello, I am Arushi Kumar, and my project topic was to build an online movie ticket booking system for a multiplex. So the primary motivation that I considered behind this project was so as to make it easy for the consumers to book their tickets by first of all providing a better and a easy interface to navigate, and also to provide them real-time booking updates, allow them the option of selecting the seats so that they can see what seats are booked, what are not in real time, and also so that they can skip the hassle of standing in lines at a multiplex if they're booking tickets offline, and uh, also so that they can discover new and other upcoming movies by searching on site. Also, if they want to watch a particular movie, they can discover the different multiplexes around them, the different show times, they can compare prices, and thus it will make it more convenient for them. Also, the system of giving the tickets have been simplified by sending the tickets over email to these consumers. So starting with the project, the demo video link has been uploaded in the as in I'll upload this video. I'll add the video link in the Google Doc link that I've added over here. So before that, first of all, let's go to the database. So my database movie ticket system, it has the following tables. First of all, it has a user table. What the user table will have a user ID, which is the primary key, the full name of the user, the email, the password, and the phone number. Next, going to the movies table. So the movies table contains information about the movie ID being the primary key, the title, the poster URL, the genre, the language, duration, description, and the release date of a movie. Then let's go to the multiplexes table. Multiplexes table. The multiplexes table has the multiplex ID, which is the primary key, the name of the multiplex, the city in which it is located, and the exact address of the multiplex. Then we have the shows table. The shows table has the show ID as the primary key. It has the movie ID and the multiplex ID as the foreign key. The movie ID was the primary key in the movies table, and the multiplex ID was the primary key in the multiplex table. And the start time of the show, the screen number of the show, the date of the show, and then I've assumed that I'll have three kinds of seats: the front seats, the middle seats, and the back seats. So while setting the show details, I've also given the option to set the prices for the front seats, the middle seats, and the back seats. So for every show that the manager schedules, he enters all of these details for the show. Thus, we can have different prices for different show times. And then apart from movies, we have table for cast members. The cast member tables contains the cast ID, which is the primary key, the name of the cast, as well as the profile pic URL. And then there's a relational table movie cast, which relates the movie table as well as the cast table, having the movie ID as foreign key, cast ID as foreign key, and then the role of cast in that movie. Yeah, and then we have the seats table. The seats table has a seat ID, which is the primary key. It has a seat number, which is the number that is has been assigned to the seat. Now there's I have distinguished seat ID from seat number, so that because you because in a multiplex you typically have different screens, and for different screens, you in different screens, for example screen 1 and screen 2, I can have two seat number, let's say 1 comma, let's say I have 1 underscore 1 as a seat number. I can have that same seat number in two different screens or in two different multiplexes. But seat ID is something that will remain unique in the table. That is a unique number I'll give to differentiate across different shows as well. And then the show ID as the foreign key, the type of seat which indicates front, back, or middle, the price of seat, which is it could either be fixed over here or it could be based on the type. I have adjusted the backend uh, to be so that it can be that. And the availability which tells whether the seat is available or booked. And finally, I have the managers table. The managers table has the manager ID as the full name of manager, the email, the password, and the multiplex ID of who's he is the owner. So this was the database, and this is the entire design document of the database. I have I have drawn a clearer ER diagram in my PPT, so this, as we saw, we had the user table, we had the seats table, the admin table, which I had referred to as the managers table, the cast table, the movie table, the table that related the movie and the cast table, the shows table, and the multiplex table. Yeah, so this is the design document in my PHP database. Now moving on to the user flow. My basic user flow is that first there's a home page, and then there's an option for the user to see all movies. Then because the basic flow of booking a ticket is, first of all, user decides what movie the user wants to watch. Then the user decides what days would the user be free to watch that movie on. And then the user goes on to choosing a particular time slot or a particular multiplex to watch that movie in. Apart from the and once the user chooses the show time and the multiplex, then the user selects how many seats, and then they select their seat. Then they make their payment, and then the tickets are sent to them. So this is the basic user flow of booking a ticket, which is what I have implemented. Now moving on to the demonstration. So my front end is in React.js and my back end is in Node, as well as I've used Express as a middleware. So first of all, I established connections to the database. For establishing connection to the database to since so that I can model this in the real world, feature should be that it should be if multiple users can book tickets around the same time, so there can be multiple connections with the database from the server. For to implement that, I have made use of something of MySQL, some called as pool connections, where I've set the connection limit as 10. So with while creating a pool of connections, you can open multiple connections to the database at same time from different servers. So this is my homepage. When the user opens the website, I have kept it to be very I have kept it to be very interactive, as well as I've set a very good design team for it so that it looks attractive and the user is further, so as to attract more users to the website basically. And for the CSS of the project, I have used Tailwind CSS, since it is easy to use and you can import direct classes, and it's easy to then keep the design theme to be consistent across various screens. So this is the homepage. The user need not sign in over here, and for this, the homepage just displays basically just highly rated movies, depending upon the previous user reviews that it has received, and as well as it displays the new releases. And this is also another carousel of the popular movies. And for all of this, I connected this to an external database, and called as the movie database. So opening the code of the homepage. So this is the popular movies that we saw and the upcoming movies. And then I've added these components, the sliders. For the sliders, I use default React libraries. Like this is a component in my project. Then apart from in the homepage, we have the nav bar, which is the code for the nav bar. So going to the homepage again, the user can select their city. Then there's an option for the user to select their city. And the cities that have been shown are the cities whose multiplexes have been entered in the database. And the user can sign in, but since we're a new user, first let's just go to the register page. I enter my full name, my email, let's say my password. The user has been asked to confirm it. So once the registration has been done, I can sign in. And after signing in, the user can see their full name over here. Moving ahead, then this is the next page. After signing in, the user can view all the movies which are currently being streamed. And there's a navbar where the user can even search for a movie. or the user can use the filters to search for a movie. I have implemented language filters as well as genre filters. So I had added only two movies in the database, which is why you can only see two movies here. But so selecting, let's say, kids genre, I only one movie is visible. Let's say I want to, then I, after I choose what movie I want to view as a user, you can view further details about the movie by clicking on the movie poster. Then I have details like description, genre, release date, duration, language, and then there's the cast. I think the image has not been loaded perfectly. Just try again. Then you can book a show. Then selecting my city and selecting the date I want to watch. I had added shows of 8th April, so that's why 8th April. And then I can view the available shows with the multiplex name, the multiplex address, as well as the start time. Say I choose to watch this show, then I can click on book show. I then select the number of tickets that I want to be booking. Let's say I want 3 tickets, and I the entire seat map is visible with different colors indicating different seat prices. These ones are 200. The mid yellow ones are 220 according to the legend, and the darker yellow ones are 240. The red ones indicated booked, and green ones that I'll be selecting since I selected 3 seats. So I select one, let's say I select 2 seat, and I select the third seat, or select the third seat. So ideally my price should be 200 plus 220 plus 240. I can deselect this again to select, let's say, another seat. So this would be with 200 plus 220 plus 220 again. I am still signed in, and then I want to confirm my booking, where I can see the selected seats, which was first row, second seat, second row, second seat, 2_2, and second row, third seat, 2_3. Total amount 640. We can check 200 plus 220 plus 220 again, which is 440 plus 200, 640. I enter my email. Now I'll be entering my actual email over here, not the one used to sign in, since so as to demonstrate further. Then proceed to payment. So my tickets have been mailed to me. Thank you. Let's check my mail. I wanted to implement the payment gateway as well, the Razor API, but since I don't have a PAN number, I wasn't able to do so. Checking my email, I have received an email. So yeah, I received an email where it mentions the movie name, the date of the show, the time of the show, as well as my seat numbers, and the total amount. Thus, to actually go to the show, I can show this email as my ticket. So this was the user side of the entire ticket booking system. Let's go to the code. In the code, I first had my homepage, where in the homepage I had inserted to make these three. I had coded them as separate components, these two being the same component and reusing them. So for the homepage, I had used this database, the MovieDB, and in my API for which I have I created an API and I added my API key to the env file. Next, we had the homepage navbar. Excuse me. Yeah, so in the nav bar, I had also implemented the login navbar. For the navbar, we had the option to select my cities, for which it again went to the backend to fetch cities, displaying the backend code. And apart from that, it also had the option, it had the login option. So we have the login modal over here, which is a separate component that I've built. Into the backend. So the backend one, and the query which selects distinct cities from multiplexes order by city. That multiplexes table had the multiplex ID, the city, and the addresses. So it displays the cities in which the multiplexes have been entered in the database. Further, going to the login model, I used use effect to implement the closing and the opening of the model. And then as I enter my login details, it goes to the again it connects to the backend, the API login endpoint, sending the email and the password that we had entered. Now for storing the password of the user, I used the bcrypt library which hashes the password, so as to maintain security. Going to the I can show. So this is the hashed password of the user. Rather than storing the actual password, I'm using the bcrypt library. And this is the login endpoint in the backend where I have entered the query where it selects the users where the email is the one which we had entered. And after selecting the user, it then compares the password by again rehashing the entered password, since we have to compare the hashes of the password. Further on, also we had the register page, which asks for information like email and password as well as phone number, wherein I've implemented a form. And the backend of the registered page, yes, the backend of the registered page where it again destructures the entire user input, and it first checks that if there is another common email or not, since I set the email field to be a unique ID, to be a unique key. And if not, then it inserts into the user, setting the full name, email, password, phone number, and this is the query inserted into user set. So further on, next, so this was the entire homepage code. After the homepage, we had the see all page, right? So for the see all page, I implemented again two filters, the language filter and the genre filter. And then this will again select movies from the database depending upon the filters that we've added. Yes, this is the backend code wherein I select movie ID, title, poster URL, genre, language from movies, and I check whether there are filters. If language has been entered, then I'll also append language within the query, and if the genre filter has been selected, I will be appending the genre part in the query. So repeated escape genre. I've used SQL promises to be able to again check the results. Next, we had the movie page, which was the page on selecting a movie, where it displays the movie description as well as the book show button as well as the cast. And on the movie page, where you have the nav bar, you have the book show button, you have the movie details, like the description, the genre, the release date, the duration, and then there's the cast part component below it. Going to the back end of the movie page, this fetches the movie ID, wherein if you look at the URL, you have the movie and the movie ID. In my database for Kung Fu Panda 4, I had the movie ID as 1, which is why it displays in the URL. It'll fetch the ID from the parameters, which is that is fetching from the URL. And again, we query the database to select from the movies table where the movie ID is the ID of the movie that we had fetched earlier. And we also select the cast details, where we select the cast name, the URL, the role. From we had three tables, right? We had the cast members table, we had the movie table, and then we had the movie cast table, which connected the movie as well and the cast. So we're using the join operation over here. Next, going to the booker show this, after selecting the date and the city, it shows the available shows, and the backend code is you have the show and you have the movie ID already passed. Book one was the movie ID over here, and then the query which selects the show from the shows table, the show ID, the start time, screen number, the multiplex's name, and the multiplex address from shows. You're joining the multiplexes table with the shows table over here. Such, and then I'm later ordering it by show start time. It's not visible here since I've added only one show. The book shows code. Next, going to this is the seat map for which I had for each seat I'm storing it in the seat table. If you would, I've stored it this way, where you have the seat ID, the seat number, the show ID, the type, the availability, and all of which is being reflected over here. See, the first four seats is available, and which is why this is the one underscore two, one underscore three, one underscore four. This had taken a lot of time for me to implement. And then after confirming the booking, for the email part, I used the node mailer library. And in my .env file, I had entered my username as well as the password. For the password, you are supposed to enter the app password in case you're using the two-factor authentication of Gmail. So when I press and confirm my booking, you call the send email endpoint as well as the email is sent based on the email would be sent from the email username and password that I had entered in my .env file. So this is the entire user perspective. Next, I have also implemented the manager dashboard. Now, the manager dashboard is something I've only implemented the login and not the registration because I because the way I thought of the system design for this was that since the managers would be the owners of multiplexes, we don't allow just anyone to register. We give the owners of the multiplexes their login credentials, and then they're given the URL to login, and then there would be a different URL for each owner of the multiplex, which only one they can access. And then for further authentication, they've also been asked for the password. Does this ensure security and that no one can break into the system? So entering a already login that I'd so then the manager can add shows for a particular movie. The show has been added. So this also makes the job of the owner easier, where he can easily schedule shows and take care of whatever shows have been already scheduled. Going to the backend code, we have the login endpoint where you're retrieving whatever email and then you're checking their password. And then the movies list, for while adding the movies, the list of movies that have been currently displayed, so that the manager doesn't have to keep entering movie details again and again while scheduling shows, where you're selecting the movie ID and title from the movies and then ordering by title. And then you have the multiplex detail, and where you're fetching the ID, the name, and the address from the multiplexes table, which has been displayed below the manager's dashboard. And then there's the add show endpoint, which again queries the database and inserts into the shows table your movie ID, multiplex, screen number, show date, show time, and the different seat prices. So this is the entire project. And moving on to in the PPT, I've detailed the feature set, wherein I had kept a the very interactive homepage, so that so as to increase the consumer base and so that users can also search movies more effectively and the movie market grows. Then a very easy sign in, which only requires an email ID and password for signing in. Then there was the feature to view and to filter movies very easily, as well as a feature that displays the individual movie details. And then an option to search for shows based on the show date as well as their cities, and then to display all different show times. And then we have the seat map, which displayed all the tickets that had been selected as that had been already booked, the total price, and asking for confirmation again so that the tickets are sent to the right person, as well as the tickets then being emailed. And then we had the login for the multiplex owner, as well as the option for the multiplex owner to schedule movies. For database, I had used MySQL, and for server, I have used the XAMPP server, where the Apache and MySQL, I have started those. And about the difficulties faced, I had faced a lot of difficulty in deciding how the exact database schema would look like, what exact tables would I want to add. For example, how would I want to store the seat details, or how would I want to store the shows detail, whether I want whether I want the two details to be stored together or differently. And then while implementing the features, certain features like implementing the login page or the register page was pretty direct, was something which we had already worked on for even, let's say, building the pharmacy project, etc., or the exam portal project. But certain features, like especially the feature for emailing the tickets, or the feature for designing an actual seat map and keeping and connecting it to the database every time, was what took a lot of time. And then there were a lot of development errors, like certain data wouldn't be fetched, or certain data would show as undefined, as well as the email services. This is the entire course project. The demo, I'll upload the video link in the Google, as it's been in the Google Doc over here. Thank you.